are still here at Pulau Doi, Indonesia. Today we leave for our final stop before the passage to Pulau.
Well, what's the story?
The story is we were heading out. We're getting ready to go to Pulau. We're going to stop over to get some internet to download an app we needed for the Iridium Go. And we got a phone call or a radio call from our buddies over there on Illimite, and he said, hey, I've got no water coming out of my exhaust. It was probably an impeller, and so he checked impeller, two blades were missing, and just not getting any sort of water flow. So the bottom line is he doesn't have a spare because he just used his spare just recently on another issue. So his engine's dead. So here we are in this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful anchorage. They are beautiful area. We're in Pulau Doi or something. Doi, and has got no engine. So we're gonna do the first thing first. First thing we've ever done on field trip. We've never done it before, and let's try to tow somebody. So we're gonna tow Gary over to the next island, which hopefully will have some internet to be able to make some inquiries on getting a new impeller or connect with some friends maybe down the road that might have them. So we're going to be towing a monohull behind field trip for the first time ever and try to figure this whole thing out. So it is what it is. It's not a big deal. Everything happens for a reason. If we had not decided to leave today, we would have left tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. He would have been stranded here in the middle of nowhere, not able to go anywhere without wind. And even then, it's tricky in that bay because the wind doesn't blow very well. So that's what we're up to. Raise a dinghy and start to rig up this bridle, get it figured out. I've got our dock lines. The plan of attack right now is to take our two different these black dock lines, one for each side. Each they have a loop in the middle. We'll use the loop, join the two loops in the middle, put a floaty on it so it floats, and that will be the bridle that he will end up using as an attachment point for his boat to field trip. That's at least the plan. The cleats should hold. I'm assuming that they will. We're not going to be pulling them too fast or too hard, but we just got to be careful.
So is it going to clear the dinghy engine?
Yeah, it should.
I can go in there.
Good question. I think it's a good
Like
question.
most projects aboard Field Trip, we get the kids involved to help us get things done. Elizabeth is helping rig the bridle lines for towing Illimite.
I'm just trying to figure out process through my mind. I like to have a plan and step through, like make sure I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So when we toss him the line and he gets tied up to the bridle, then how's he going to lift his anchor?
His anchor's already up.
His anchor is up.
He's just drifting.
Oh, he's drifting.
Yeah, that's why he wants us to get over there, because he's drifting.
Oh, well then let's stop talking and get over there.
Well, you want to ask questions, so we have to answer the question.
You wanted to video it.
Yeah.
His anchor's up. We need to go.
We're not in a rush, but yeah, so that's the deal. So we're going to go over to Gary over there. We're going to back the boat up. Then we're going to get close enough where I can just chuck over that float that's tied to the bridle. He can grab the floaty line, pull it on in deck, and then lash on to the bridle, and then we'll have we probably need at least
there is a
30
formula.
or...
What's the formula?
There's no formula.
Yeah, for how long the line needs to be?
I'm not aware of any formula other than 30, 40 meters.
There's a
30 meters,
formula.
30 meters
We don't
back.
know what it is.
We'll figure it out. We got to get cracking because the current's going to be going against us. It's going to be a mess. Illimite, this is field trip. We are going to move into position if that's okay. Over.
We're ready in as good a shape as we can be in all things considered.
Okay, we'll be there in a couple minutes, and we'll just come around up front, and we will back up to you, and then we'll toss you a floaty. On that floaty, it's a floating line that's tied to the bridle. You can just pull it right on back over.
Okay, so you're gonna chuck the ball.
Chuck the ball, that's my job. And fend off anything. We should have Michael with a fender, really.
My ability to aim was put to the test as I chucked this hard plastic buoy over to Gary as a way to throw him the line. The pressure was on.
Chuck this, and then I gotta make sure it doesn't get tangled on any of the stuff in the back. You're gonna have to get a little closer, honey.
Ha 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 ha. You just need to chuck it.
Honey, I don't think I can chuck it that far.
Of course you can.
It's really light.
Sarah, it's really
And it has
light.
lots of
You're gonna get
momentum.
close because what's going to happen is you can swing around differently when it's bonk our boat.
Are we having fun yet?
Oh yeah!
Woohoo!
I never thought I'd be needing rescue.
All right, I'm just gonna chuck this.
Yeah.
Okay.
That Mark says not yet.
Wait till you get closer.
I'm gonna get up to you and I'm gonna chuck it. It might, I don't know where it's gonna end up.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
It's hard.
I'm so sorry. Right on your fiberglass.
Now, feed that to him off the back, Sarah.
Yeah, feeding it.
We've been closer than this before.
Good. Here's your bridle. These are your 2 loops that you're gonna need.
Okay. I want you to hold these, Noel.
Okay, slow down, Mark.
Okay.
Are you tired?
I'll slow down once we get past the boat.
Yeah.
Once we get past the boat, I'll slow down.
Yeah, I just don't want to drop these in the water until.
What do you think?
One key factor to help make maneuvers like this work is good communication. Most of the time, we do a good job communicating, sometimes verbally and sometimes with hand gestures.
Is it caught in the engine? No.
Okay, that one's down. Okay, you got both lines in the water.
The length of the tow line is important. It varies depending on the sea state and vessels involved. 20 to 30 meters is really too short, so we end up with about 50 meters of line to safely tow them.
I have probably 100 meters here. Is that better?
Well, if it's too long, then I think that we might risk a boat cutting in between us. We'll see.
Gary continues to pay out scope gradually until there is an approximate 50 meters between our boat and his. This distance seemed to be just about perfect for our towing scenario.
I think we should probably have a good maybe 40 meters, I'm guessing at least.
Gary, is that gonna chafe on the anchor?
Now, when it's pulling straight, it won't hit the anchor.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna start going forward.
Are you ready? Dead weight isn't cleared off.
Yeah, let's just get it to him.
Okay, we're going forward. I can see both lines.
We slowly load up the line and double check that everything is secure. It's important to ensure that there are no chafing points that might produce wear on the line and eventually cause it to snap.
Make sure that your wheel is centered. Over. Okay, I'm gonna start getting up to speed here. Here we go. We're gonna see what happens. Field trip. Doing 3 knots. I think we'll be able to easily go. Yes.
We also check our stern bridle, as we don't want it to chafe on the dinghy engine prop. It all looks good, so we're in good shape to start moving.
Illimite, it's a field trip. Hey, is Gary listening too?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Hello, and welcome aboard the Field Trip Express. We have a few precautions that you must follow. Number 1, keep your hands and feet inside your boat at all times. Number 2, please do not take a dip, because it will be difficult for us to retrieve you traveling at this velocity. Last but not least, do not cut the line. If you do so, you will drift aimlessly to your doom. We will not stop. Thank you for joining the cheerful Field Trip Express. P.S. We will send refreshments down to you that consist of fumes as our engine overworked to pull your hopeless aluminum can to safety.
Bravo, McPhee.
Okay, we've almost gotten to the anchorage here. The first stop that we have while we're towing our boat, the boat Illimite behind us. And so the strategy that we've got about 8 knots of wind on the beam, kind of pushing us this way. And if you can see here on the charts, down here, we've got, this is us, Illimite's behind us. This is marking the reef on either side. We're gonna come in and spend a little bit more time on this side, on the windward side of the reef, so that in case, once we get close enough, in about 8 or so meters of water, we're gonna release the line. Gary's gonna drift this way some. As he gets his anchor down, he gets his anchor set. So the wind's blowing this direction on our beam. Will favor this side. It's about 450 meters from here to here, so it's plenty wide and plenty of space in here. We just gotta be careful since we are under tow with Gary. We don't wanna have any issues with the reefs up here and all that fun stuff. But we're doing about 3.5 knots. and we'll have hopefully ourselves Gary and us anchored here soon. You're releasing the line back there. You want to show the line back there? He's releasing the line, and then Michael's going to pull it in. Okay.
Before we can safely anchor, we must pull the towing line aboard to prevent any lines from getting caught in our props. Michael is our primary line handler. Finally, we're in position and we drop the hook. It was a successful tow, our first, but possibly not our last. We are glad we could help our friends, and we know they would have done the same for us.
Hello. Hello. Hello, hello.
Not long after our arrival, some of the local kids are curious enough to paddle out to our boat and see what we're doing. We welcome them aboard and give everyone a quick tour of Field Trip. The children are very polite, and they have great manners. They're very thankful that we showed them the boat, and I'm sure they'll have lots of stories to tell their friends in the village. We're leaving in the morning, but if we were staying, I'm sure we would have more kids aboard tomorrow.
Yes.
The sun sets on a full day of adventure. We get some much-needed rest before our blue water passage to Pulau.